Fred Smith here told us the B&H photo helped change his life.
With Melio, you can transfer and receive payments faster and more easily than with traditional methods like checks.
And welcome to Engineering the Markets. All right. So my name is Jared. And this is Engineering the Markets. It is April 30th, 2021. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Just checking, making sure we're good across the board. All right, so as we get into the end of April, we have our SPY giving us a little bit additional volatility to sort of close out the month. Yesterday's session, some people will start to perceive this as the beginning of a lack of momentum. And the reason for that is both the candle structure and some of the intraday action we saw in the SPY. So from a pattern-based perspective, people will start to look at this as a hanging man candle, where we did see some selling early in the session. Buyers were able to recover into the afternoon session, but it's a warning sign as we are approaching sort of an extended area of the market that sellers do exist. Sellers are willing to push the price lower. And what we're depending on at the moment is potentially no longer momentum buyers, but now we're looking more and more at dip buyers, buyers who are patiently waiting for support zones to be hit. And when those support zones are hit, they're willing to step in and sort of recover the price. Now, the SPY is certainly in a momentum trend. It has been for quite a while throughout the month of both late March and April. We've seen volatility mixed in between, but for the most part, buyers who have bought high and sold higher have been rewarded. So that momentum has certainly been the theme of the entire month of April. This session yesterday is showing us that potentially there are some sellers waiting at these price levels, and all we are looking for now is how far can a dip potentially go until the dip buyers prove to us that they're willing to step in at a deeper support zone. So, we take this candle in stride. We understand that we are extended on multiple time frames. And yes, pullbacks are normal in this market. Now, from the perspective of our levels, really we haven't lost anything. We've come into that very tight consolidation range, and the buyers were able to close above both the consolidation range and close at essentially a new all-time high. When we look into our 4-hour, we want to just keep a close eye on the fact that we are starting to potentially close below the 20, which is showing us that that momentum is starting to be lost. We have seen the 50 act as an area of support, but overall we're looking more and more at horizontal levels. And when we are looking back in the past, we see that there are some strong levels of support that we would expect dip buyers to attempt to recover the price. So if the market were to pull back further today, we obviously want to take these levels into consideration and just note whether the market is closing below these levels or simply coming to them and inflecting off of them. Each of those has its own impression on market participants and whether or not that is a strong level of support or something that is being tested and with momentum loss potentially at risk for more downside. Now, when we look at the SPY from this perspective, we have to ask ourselves, SPY made a new all-time high. Did the Qs? The answer is technically they did make a new intraday all-time high, but they did not close at a new all-time high. So once again, we're seeing that the Qs are facilitating some of this downside momentum amidst a market with a lot of other sectors showing us strength. We'll look at some of those sectors in just a moment, but with some of our major earnings already passed, things like Facebook and Apple were some of our more recent, and then we just had Amazon yesterday afternoon. The Qs are certainly feeling some of that downward pressure, with stocks like Apple being sold into the gap up into earnings. We have stocks like Tesla continuing to sell, a little bit of a downward momentum inside of the general consumer discretionaries, albeit Amazon sort of fixed that problem. And then Microsoft, which we saw both a negative reaction and then just a general sort of fade after the fact of their earnings. So from the perspective of the Qs, we are testing the 20. We did come off of the 20 quite strong. However, not the same picture as the SPY. SPY was able to close at a new all-time high. The Qs did not. So we have to respect the fact that the Qs are back inside of their range. We do have the potential for a bounce off of the 20, but at these levels, we need to be very cautious of sort of a bull trap scenario, as we haven't cleared a range, and technically we're coming back into resistance that resistance could easily hold once again and then flush the price to a lower support zone, most notably the low end of the range. So combining the fact that we have dynamic support with moving averages, along with actual technical support with things like the horizontal support line of the range. And we can see the perspective on the Qs inside of the 4-hour chart is once again facilitative of that range. We see swing high, swing low, very similar swing high, potentially a back test of the swing low. And as we trade in this range, we simply want to note that as we reject to expand the upper portion of the range, we simply have to be prepared for the back test of the lower end of the range. So range rules, you want to clear the range, close above it, back test it above, and then go higher. If you fail to do so, the most likely scenario is that you come to the lower end of the range. And that's why we want to be cognizant of, yes, the 20 moving average held as support on the daily, but overall the structure inside of the Qs is one of a range swing high to swing low. And that's simply something we have to be prepared for in the technical perspective of trades and structure in the Qs. IWM. So we saw the IWM come outside of a range. We noted that a back test was likely in this scenario, as the IWM is sort of lagging the overall indices that we like to track. We also noted that the strength here was facilitative of potentially leading other markets, as other markets are a bit extended and the IWM is not. So IWM did perform a back test as of yesterday's session. It was a bit of an aggressive back test. We certainly saw the selling come in. And as we look at the 4-hour, we are starting to close below the area that we broke out from. So once again, deeper support, we need to find where dip buyers are sitting. And if they're not sitting anywhere, we need to note key levels being lost on the way down. Perspective here is that we're still in a bull trend. Other markets are starting to show maybe exhaustion. Momentum is starting to give way for more of a pullback and therefore more of a dip buying approach. And with the IWM, that could easily take some of the brunt of that selling before we get to, once again, sort of the continuation of the trend in the overall markets. Obviously, time will tell if that comes to play, but that is a perspective we must take as the markets have made new all-time highs. Those new all-time highs are being potentially sold into, and those dips technically should be considered for buying, leading us back to test the swing highs that we've recently set. So perspective here is that we're nearing the end of the month. As the markets are starting to change, as we're getting outside of earnings, we want to take just a quick inventory of what sectors are leading some of the selling and which sectors are actually outperforming amidst a market that did have a little bit of volatility yesterday. So we started off with XLK, our tech sector. This is likely where most of the selling occurred, as we do have sort of a downdraft candle. Once again, testing the 20 moving average. The structure here is still bullish, but intraday and just after earnings, we're seeing some of that that good overall earnings outlook and estimates being sold into. So we must take that into account. We're watching for these key ranges to start to be lost. And then obviously we're looking for where dip buyers may want to step back in to the market and bring it to higher prices. Financials. Essentially no issues at this point. Financials continue to outperform overall, as not only they're making new all-time highs, but we have a very strong momentum push outside of the previous range that we came from. So once again, little bit of a cautionary tale in tech, but financials are picking up the slack. Similar to tech, XLY, bit of a pullback day yesterday, coming back to the 20, testing it, and then a strong reaction off of the 20. Want to keep this in mind short term. Can this candle hold? And can we break above it to facilitate potentially more momentum? Or is this simply some sort of short-term bull trap looking for lower prices and potentially deeper dip buyers? Healthcare. Healthcare obviously had a strong momentum reaction after some of the earnings from United Healthcare and other major stocks like J&J. We are seeing that pullback. This pullback is in the context of a recent all-time high. So we're obviously looking for, once again, that dip buying potential. We want to come to an area of support, look for a good reaction of dip buyers and momentum, or volume, and then ultimately step into that looking for a retest of the highs, if not higher. Industrials continue their upward climb. No red flags at this point. We do have that similar hanging man structure, but this is with the context of a recent pullback to the 20 on the daily. So overall here, nothing really of concern as of yet. Consumer staples, XLP actually started to wake up yesterday. Interesting candle structure, interesting close above a recent range. Price action was a bit choppy here. We didn't have very clean levels amidst the swing highs and swing lows of the past. We did break above it and then come back into the range. So there's a bit of a cautionary tale here, potentially coming to back test the lower end of the range. But buyers were able to hold somewhere in the middle, just sort of an intermediate support zone. And then we are seeing a strong push outside of the range once again. So ultimately, consumer staples may be back in play. Certainly want to see if there's any earnings risk into next week, or if we've actually passed some major earnings inside of staples and see, what are the reactions overall positive, leading to this breakout of the range. XLU, very strong sector in recent history. We got a nice calm pullback back to the 20. We get an indecision, and then we see the potential for a trade setup. We were talking about this earlier this week, how utilities were hitting major resistance. It came back to an area of support, a recent reaction in past history. We see the indecision, and we see the potential for, once again, another trade setup to the upside. Obviously, we'd like the market to continue just the general upward trend, just to kind of help the overall sector approach. But utilities have been standing out as a strong sector, potentially getting stronger. And all we've seen so far is just a calm pullback from a recent resistance. So this may be an area of interest. We also want to keep in mind that utilities, to some degree, act similar to bonds. So in the case where we see, I guess, bonds selling off with a higher interest rate, utilities may be sort of the counter to that, the inverse of that, where more risk-off investors are looking for an asset class that's appreciating, along with providing a high dividend yield. So utilities has that sort of quality, and we certainly see the potential for a trade setup here. Energy, we called it out earlier this week. Most of that momentum was sold into a bit yesterday, but overall the structure here is still facilitative of maybe a bullish turnaround play. We had our retracement structure, we had support, we broke out of that very strongly. And the only thing worth mentioning is that we do have CVX and XOM, so Chevron and Exxon, both reported this morning. I believe Chevron had sort of a negative reaction to their earnings, and Exxon may have a slight negative reaction. So we may see a little bit of downdraft in energy, but the structure here is that we did come out of this retracement with volume and momentum. So potential back test and then potentially leading to higher prices. We'll keep this on watch in the days to come. And then finally, communications. Facebook and Google both reporting very strong earnings. Communications making a new all-time high, nice strong breakout of recent all-time highs, gap up and hold. So far picture here is that while big tech is pulling back slightly, Apple, Microsoft, maybe a little bit of Visa, but Visa has been quite strong. Communications is showing the opposite picture. A lot of strength, major breakout, and we'll see how much momentum this sector has amidst a market that may be starting to pull back slightly. So sector approach here, we see a lot of good, a lot of bullish strength in certain areas. We see potentially a little bit of an overbought scenario in things like tech and consumer discretionaries. We will see how these sectors start to align themselves in the month of May, as we are now past a major earnings cycle and essentially a major earnings week. So let's see. The last thing that I wanted to bring to people's attention is, now that we're nearing the end of April, I'm going to go ahead and just remove these drawings to clear the way for the topic. So now that we're in the end of April, investors, traders, the theme that people are going to start to echo is the idea of sell in April or sell in May and go away. And the concept here is that the cyclical nature of the market is typical to where April and May tend to be relatively strong months, and then there's some sort of correction in the market. And the idea is that most investors who believe the cyclical nature want to reduce risk and sort of lower their upside risk tolerance in their portfolios. They allow the market to correct and then potentially come back into the market after some of the volatility has subsided. So yes, this is a common theme that we will start to be hearing in the month of May. This can lead to maybe some short-term fear, people thinking that the top is set, they want to sell into some of this strong momentum strength, and then ultimately come back, buy back at lower prices, the dip buying mentality of looking for a dip and then buying into it, expecting the market to go higher. So it's important for us as investors and traders to take in this information and understand the context to which it applies to the market. The context being that some human psychology is involved. If you hear something enough, you believe it to be true, and the market likes to sort of have sort of a herd mentality of, if everyone's doing it, it sort of self-perpetuates itself. If everyone hears to sell in May, then maybe the market will react as everyone starts to react to that topic or that theme. But we also want to take into account of how strong of an indicator is this? Is this something that has proven itself in the past? So what I've done for the SPY is simply mark off the close of the April candles over the past 10 to 15 years. And what we want to see is, yes, this is something that we hear every single April and May of the market. Yes, we are a bit extended in the monthly and weekly perspectives. But do we want to react? And as we scan through previous April candles, we see things like this reaction, this reaction, and this reaction. And then finally this one back in 2005. So out of multiple years worth of data, going back in this case to about 2003, we've seen maybe 4 to 5 cases where if you had sold in April and then come back in a couple of months, you would have been rewarded with lower prices, and the selling in April led to a nice price target overall. That's great. That's 5 cases that you want to analyze and put into some sort of thesis as to whether or not you believe that that's going to occur again. But if we look back across the board overall, we also see that there are multiple cases where selling in April or selling in May has actually been a relatively bad time to sell as the market has continued higher. And what we want to be aware of is where we are, what sort of reactions can we expect, and are we seeing confirmation in the markets? So I bring this topic up because as we saw the volatility yesterday, a lot of traders and investors are trying to time the top of the market. And we need to understand that we are still in a bullish context where we might be running out of momentum, but now we're simply looking for the next potential opportunity for the pullback to be bought, just like most of these pullbacks have been in the past. We're looking for dip buyer reactions. And if we simply don't see it, then we can start to form a different thesis. We can form different concepts of maybe the market is a bit overbought. We can look for a sort of range bound structure. We can look for bearish scenarios. But until the market shows us those opportunities, we don't want to try and time things to the T. And we bring things to the SPY, we bring things to the Qs, we look for those reactions in April, April's past, I'll say. We have sort of a similar note here. I believe there's one here as well. But the idea is that the sell in April, sell in May adage and come back to lower prices does not always work. So as an investor, you're asking yourself, are things at the price targets that I want to start exiting? Maybe yes, maybe no. But the month and the adage of the world, coming out with this concept needs to be back tested, and you as an investor or as a trader need to make those decisions yourselves without the noise of something as simple as sell in May and go away. So I wanted to bring that up as a way to sort of close out April. We are getting into a little bit of a frothy market overall. We've passed some earnings. We've seen reactions to earnings. We have a little bit more to go. So we want to stay on guard as there are some big market cap names that have not yet reported. But the structure here is that a lot of our sectors are continuing their bullish trend. Yes, we're seeing pullbacks in tech. Yes, we're seeing pullbacks in consumer discretionaries, but a lot of sectors are picking up the slack, and that can lead to these higher prices in our indices. Things like SPY with its high diversification, things like the Qs, we may see those pullbacks simply be bought. And that can once again lead to new all-time highs, breaking those ranges that we've set. And then of course the IWM, a little bit of a wild horse overall, but so far structure looks good. So be cognizant of what you're taking into account for your trade and investing portfolios. Be aware that market psychology is a powerful thing. We may see a reaction based on the herd mentality of the market. But if that's the case, we will act upon it as traders. We will look for opportunities as the market goes through potentially a fear cycle. And then we'll come back even stronger than ever with another market opportunity, potentially for looking for another dip. So let's keep this in mind. Let's go into April. Let's reflect on a very strong month overall in the markets. Day trading, swing trading, investing. We should be looking back and seeing where we can improve. What do we do well? What do we want to stop doing as investors and traders? And then start to look for those opportunities once again in May. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have for y'all. I wanted to once again thank everybody for the feedback and the great comments of this Engineering the Market show. Let's look for some opportunities today with pre-market prep. As we come into the end of April, stay on guard. We do have a bit of a volatility spike. I did want to call that out. So we are seeing our VIX come up slightly. So the range in the market is likely to expand as the VIX starts to increase. And with that volatility comes opportunity. You know, traders love opportunity, like wide ranges. We can take advantage of that as market participants start to gauge whether they want to get in or get back out of the markets. So that said, take it easy, trade safe. I'll see y'all in May and talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone is having an amazing morning. I hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing real good. Happy it's Friday. Ready for this weekend. Just ready to rock and roll, man. So, all right, guys, let's
Everybody
take a look.
give Jared a thumbs up for his great engineering the markets all week.
Yes, absolutely, guys. Thumbs up for Jerry. We really, really appreciate it. Just want to make sure that is the sound okay, guy, in the chat room? Sound is good? Okay. All right. Perfect. Had a couple of people saying that they couldn't hear us, but we are good. All right. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at what we had yesterday. Starting here with Facebook. So let's bring up Facebook. Let's go ahead and load our, oops, hold on a second. This thing's changing around on me. There's Facebook. All right, let's bring in our 5 minute. Facebook had a nice big gap up yesterday, guys. As you all saw, of course. 5-minute, and here we go. This was yesterday action. Yeah. Again, just amazing drop. Was very strong at pre-market. It looked like it was going to hold here, but we had a big drop yesterday. A lot of things sold off. Apple being the number one thing that dropped yesterday. I was in shock. I couldn't believe how much Apple dropped. We'll look at that in a second. But here's Facebook, guys, taking a bit of a hit, and as you can see, after a nice big gap up yesterday on earnings. So a beautiful play here. You had a nice opportunity here for a possible continuation of this breakdown and pull back right back up to the VWAP. But if you're like me, I did not believe the sell-off yesterday, so I was a little bit long bias on it. CCL as well sold off nicely. Beautiful engulfing pattern, guys. Look at this 29.11 here. Just could not get above that in the pre-market and also at the market open, and just slamming down here, trading beautifully for a nice opening range breakdown. We had a great question yesterday about levels as far as whether we put them on the wicks or on the body. I'm going to answer that a little bit later when we start doing levels, but we'll talk about that. You could do both, but I'll explain it a little bit further. Great breakdown here, guys, on the CCL. Held on to the 9 moving average. Lovely. Also tested the 20. Could not break above the 20. That's a good indicator if you're on a nice little downtrend. And CCL was just amazing yesterday. Here was Apple. Apple sold off just very hard right at the market open. Guys, lost some of these key levels we had here, and it's just kind of closing down this. Well, they had a gap because they gapped up a little bit, not like Facebook. And then you can see here's just an amazing drop on Apple yesterday. Envis was just madness. So you did get a drop into the market open, but they had earnings after hours, and you can see here this thing just took a hit and continues to take a hit. I haven't looked at it this morning, down 25%. So it was tough to hold the line here, guys. This one was definitely getting crushed yesterday after hours, and also this morning. So definitely going to be fun to watch that one. We are going to be checking that out. Here's a VXRT, had a nice little pop at the pre-market open. A lot of us took this for a possible continuation, but man, we did not get it. You had to take it here for the breakout of the highest of the pre-market, which I believe Andrew did. He had an amazing trade here. I think Brian did. I was waiting for the 5 minutes. That never really looked good. It just got too extended. I didn't think it was going to run up this much, so it was not good for a 5 minute after that. And glad I did not touch this, guys, because look at this here. Got very, very hard to not very choppy, trying to break out of that $11. And the minute it hit, you could see this huge drop here, guys. So again, just somebody was, like Andrew said, somebody was waiting there to drop their shares, and they did just that, man. Just an incredible drop. From there on, it did not trade very well. It was very choppy. Here is Plug, guys. I didn't really look at Plug's action. I was too busy with everything else up here. We had some pretty good stocks that were selling off, but Plug, same situation, very similar to what happened in a lot of the stocks we were watching. A beautiful sell-off as well yesterday after the market opened. So Norm, any interesting news to end the week?
Jared recapped it well, as he does pretty much every morning. So we just had a slew of data come out. Biggest ones: personal income, consumer spending, core inflation. Nothing too crazy there. Market's selling off a little bit on that stuff. We've got Chicago Purchasing Managers Index 945, consumer sentiment final number for April at 10. You know, the interesting thing about yesterday was that it's been a big earnings week. We had a couple of behemoths come out with excellent earnings. Apple, Facebook, you already spoke about them. Apple was a huge number night before last, and as you said, gapped up. We've talked about it. This stock split late last summer. What was it, August? And really hasn't done much since then, just kind of chopped around, and it's essentially in the area of which it had split to, and has failed to do anything. And then came out with huge numbers, had a nice gap up, looked like it was gonna, it had been consolidating for a few weeks, got the catalyst to break, broke higher, and faded off all day. So some of that momentum's coming out of the market that, just buy. And, luckily, if you look at the SPY, it sold off, and then dip buyers came in to buy it back up. But not a super strong sentiment there. Have we run too fast, too far? And the market's forward looking. So have they pulled demand forward to produce these great numbers? And then we're not going to have a whole lot of follow on, going forward in the next 6 to 12 months. Amazon blowout earnings last night, to be expected. Everybody's ordering stuff and having it delivered to their house. They likely have a better case of, they likely have a better case of those people continuing that consumer behavior moving forward than some of these others do.
Right.
If you buy a new phone because you need it, that doesn't mean you're going to buy one in 6 months. You're going to be waiting a couple of years and such. So, and they're starting to sell off. We'll see what the day has for them, but they're not looking super strong so far this morning. They've had a lot of upgrades, everything else. It'll be interesting to see how we finish out this week.
Yeah, it sure will. And you hit the nail on the head on Amazon. I'm sure it's a lot of people that have a strong customer base, of course. And some people that never try them probably try them now and realize how easy it is. I mean, it's great to support local business, but I got to tell you, man, it's tough when you have Amazon. It's very, very difficult at times. All right, let's get to it, guys. Let's jump in here and see what we have on deck. We're going to remove this watch list from yesterday. We'll make some rows in here as we get started for this Friday to finish off the trading week. Gapping up this morning, not a whole lot, guys. ACN in here looks very choppy, looks foreign. We'll stay away from this one for now. I hope we can find something better than this Friday. So up 4%, 337. But if you look at the daily, at the intraday, look how choppy this is. And also look at the daily, look how choppy it is here as well. And the volume, not too bad, but on the lighter side. Usually stocks like this just do not trade very well in the intraday. This is why we stay away from them. Now, can they have some news today? They're up 4%. Maybe, but for the most part, not the best thing to keep an eye on.
They're just don't trade well overall. It's a foreign, drug manufacturer, just funky intraday action usually.
Yeah, so we'll stay away from that one. Taking a look next here, VXRT. Again, this thing has been very, very active. All the action yesterday was right at the market opener, guys. After that, it did not do a whole lot. Yes, it sold off. We never got a reversal on this at all. So again, just wasn't clean. Can it get going today? Maybe. I'm erring more on the side that this thing is going to be choppy. So possible for now, if that. So VXRT, we'll see if it still has any more juice left. Again, it has a couple of nice runs here. Yesterday did a lot of great stuff in the pre-market, then just slammed down. Let's see if it's going to pick up again. TS is another foreign stock as well. Not a whole lot of volume. Really, really sucks here, so we'll skip on that one. As we know, guys, Amazon is on deck. It is in play. I don't intraday trade Amazon. It's just too big of a stock, but definitely in play today, gapping up 2% with some volume. All right, now let's see what's gapping down. We got a whole lot. Leading the way, Envis. I mean, wow. We have shares for sure. Mavis. Short selling restriction. We do have shares for sure on this one. It is in play, guys. It definitely is in play. Taking a huge hit after, I think they missed their numbers yesterday. So we'll take a look at that. Our ARDX, this is just horrible. Look at the daily. Doesn't look good. Pre-market is not great. We'll skip on this. I love the fact that they're down 18%, but you gotta look better than that. Wow, Twitter. I have not seen this one. Whoa. Look at this. Twitter, nice big drop yesterday.
Their users number and their guidance was womp, womp, womp.
We need that sound effect. Can you record that? You did it perfectly. We're going to record that so we can throw it out there for when we have these drops. So womp, womp, womp for Twitter here. Down 13% this morning. Oof, that is a big hit for them, guys. Twitter on deck, 1.2 million shares traded. We're going to keep eyes on that one. Next, CMPS. This one is a 36 million shares float, down 6% this morning. Volume looks crappy. Their pre-market action does not look great. Their daily, horrible, guys. And part of that is because of this volume here. And I can only imagine how this trades. Moving from 44 down to 40. That's a $4 move with only 776,000 shares traded. That's probably Brian or Thor or Amy just dropping one of their orders. You don't want to be involved in something like that. That's scary stuff. Neo here, guys. Right now down 4%, 1.3 million shares traded. Could be interesting. Wow, Neo coming back down. Even after talks about EVs and everything, it's just, I wonder what's causing this. I would expect them to have a better look here, but they're not. They're just getting killed. So Neo is on deck, guys. We'll take a look at that. NNDM not looking good. I know a lot of you guys like this one. You throw it out a lot in our chat room. But again, I just don't see anything great on it, so I'm gonna skip on it. X is on active today on our list. They're down 3.7. I know X. Some of you guys mentioned it. They started to trade a little bit better. I have not kept it on my deck yet. Yesterday sold off, but a lot of things sold off yesterday. So
And earnings last night.
it did. All right, so I'm not gonna give it too much credit for this because we had a lot of that. But if they had earnings, could be interesting. We'd like to see how that's gonna play out today when the volume does come in. STM is another foreign stock. We'll kind of explain why we don't like those. CHPT is active again. Some of these batteries and EV companies just slamming down. I'm gonna put CHPT as a possible because sometimes it can be quiet as far as volume. So we'll put it as a possible for now. CLOV, I know this was active the last couple of days, 2 or 3 days in here. I'm not seeing anything great on it, guys, as far as pre-market. We'll skip on it for today. BNG, what happened? Where's BNG? I know it's just there. Where'd it go? Here, it dropped down. BNGO this morning down 2.9. You know, I'm gonna stop here. We have a whole lot. I'll let you guys throw some stuff at me, so we'll stop here for now. I'm just gonna look at Plug because I do like Plug quite a bit. It looks like the EV stuff is right in place, so I'm gonna add Plug here. Here we go. All right, guys. Norm, what do you like this morning?
I'm still looking, man. This red down list keeps getting larger and larger, so I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have to look real hard to find some good stuff to trade today.
Yeah, I agree 100%, guys. All right, let's start with our chat room here. So, yes, X. Man, I had X here. This is one of the stocks that I had a really, really bad loss on way back. This thing just dropped like nobody's business. And I was stubborn, didn't stick to my stop. So still remember that. All right, here we go. Neo, that is on deck. Uber and Lyft, no volume right now, but good catalyst from yesterday. Let's take a look. Wow, look at the drop in Uber yesterday, man. Oh man, 1140, just taking a nice little dive here, losing everything it had for the day there. And right now, yeah, it could be a possible continuation. Volume is very light. I'll have to wait for this to hit our scanners, but man, both of them dropping at the same time. What news broke out yesterday? What was the catalyst?
Some stuff out of the federal government talking about that they're needing to treat their workers as employees.
Okay. Yeah, that's not good for them. That brings a whole lot of. I don't know if they'll be profitable after something like that, right? So that's
problematic.
Yeah, it's very problematic for them. So I'm gonna look at just one of them, and maybe as a possible, because again, they're pretty. A lot of action was yesterday. I don't know if we're going to get any more piece of that action today, but we'll put Uber on here. We'll take a second look at it, a closer look at it later down the line. OCUL, this here is a nice pop yesterday, maybe a continuation, guys, but the volume is so light right now, only 33,000, which doesn't mean much because if you look at yesterday's action, it looks like it did not have a whole lot. Without looking at the price action, it looked like it traded well. Only 9 million shares. And it could be a little funky price on the price action though, for that type of move with only that amount of shares being traded. So on the fence on it. I'm not gonna add it, guys. I'm just concerned that it might not do so well today. Apple is good, guys. Do we have that one? No, let's put that one on there. We'll see what happens. 1.2 right now, down 1.3 this morning. Again, we're right at this level of support that we've just been banging our heads back and forth on between 131 to 135. Again, as we mentioned, we talked about this one already and what has happened. Let's see, are we going to come back down and move towards the bottom here? That's going to be interesting. OCGN is another one on deck here. OCGN. All right, what do we have here? Man, their daily's just insane. But I know that we've been trading this quite a bit, and we've seen a couple of breakouts, a couple of pops on this. It looks like it wants to break out eventually, but man, this is you got to be careful with this one. I'm gonna add as a possible for now. I hope to find stuff that looks a little bit better, a little bit cleaner. WDC. Yeah, I agree. It did move great yesterday based on that chart that we just looked at for OCGN. WDC here, guys. This one we've seen in the past. It doesn't trade very well. It's very, very choppy. Today they're gapping up 3.7, so they must have some news. Probably earnings last night. You can see this big candle here. Usually signifies that for the most part, not always, but I know we're kind of in earnings season. But again, it's just one of these stocks that gets very light volume and it does not trade very, very well. So for that reason, I think I'm going to keep it off. We do have some other ones here that are looking very good this morning as far as volume and also their pre-market action. CCIV, this one is 258. Okay, it's okay. All right, we'll put it on there. Tesla, I'm sure Tesla's in play because a lot of our EVs are in play as well. So let's take a look at Tesla here. They are down 1.9. Volume is picking up here. Again, EVs are in play today, guys. They're dropping nicely, even after talks about doing some of the EV stuff and all of that. That is not turning out well.
They didn't hit the NEO came out earnings and was talking about problems with chip shortages and stuff like all these auto manufacturers are. So
yeah. And I know that's been an issue for some time. I wonder if it's just getting worse and they're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel anytime soon. And maybe that's what's causing some of this drop. Because obviously, if you look at NEO, right, guys, we've seen the hit they've been taking here. You know, it's just insane. A lot of the EV stuff has. All right, Microsoft, we left off there. Again, Microsoft has been trading very, very clean for the most part. I don't like the way it trades personally, so I'm going to keep it off my list. But if you like it, put it on yours. And we'll stop here. Let's take a look at one more MU. And MU, yeah, no volume. Seems very light. I haven't watched MU in such a long time. Had a little bit of a run here, but yeah, I have not really watched MU like that. So not looking great at the moment. All right, let's go over on YouTube. Let's see what you guys have this morning. Let's start here. CCL. Do we have CCL on deck? No, we don't. It was a great trade yesterday. Yeah, possible continuation today. The volume is a little bit lighter. I'd like to see a little bit more there. We'll have to see how the overall market's going to be today. That's going to dictate a lot as well. But a huge drop yesterday for CCL, for Apple, Envis, we have that on here. So again, a lot of, man, everything I have on the screen is red besides VXRT, and that's not even the best one. So we'll see, guys. We'll see what the market's going to do. Keep an eye on the spot. Keep an eye on the overall market, the Qs. Let's see what's the sentiment as we start the market open. NEO, we do have AMC. I usually do not keep on deck. This looks horrible, by the way, right now, so I wouldn't be watching that one for what we're looking for. CCL, we do have CCL. Did I add it? No, we don't have. We looked at it. Doesn't look great. Apple, we do have. MO, we have not looked at this one. MOTS, more of a penny stock, so I'm not interested in this here. KLDO. No, horrible. Just no volume, guys. Nothing happening here. Daily's very light on volume, so that doesn't look great. All right, let's take some time because I think we kind of went through all of that. Let's take some time to answer some questions. So here we have, and we get this one a lot. You know, what do we look at the daily that tells us immediately if a ticker is good or bad? We went through some examples today. We had actually AZN. This one is the perfect definition of a horrible daily action, right? Look at the way these candles are forming, right? They're gapping up every single day, up and down, right? You don't get these on stocks that trade decent. Let's look at NEO. NEO is a decent trading stock. If you look at the daily here, look how clean this looks, right? You have a pattern going. You can tell where the support and the resistance are at. This is a great pattern, and we kind of have a beautiful base here. We have a kind of a double bottom. We also are tightening down into a point here. We broke out of that here, actually. We broke out of that towards the top. We broke the range. See how clean this daily looks? Very, very clean. You look at an AZN, and this is just all over the place. Very difficult to put levels in that are going to mean anything. And this one happens to be a foreign stock, but you can also find stocks that look like this as far as US-based stocks. KO is another one that the daily is horrible. Look at how every candle overlaps the previous candle. And for the most part, sometimes, not always, when you look at these foreign type stocks or horrible daily stocks, the volume tends to be very, very light. Look at TS.
I'll give you a hint. Yeah. If Warren Buffett has a long-term position in it, it's generally not a good day trading stock.
KO is a perfect definition of that one. KO, guys, is horrible, but long-term investment, they pay out great dividends, so people hold on to this one. But for intraday trading, it is brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Macy's is another one. Macy's, unless they have earnings, look at this.
There were some times over the last year
Yeah,
when Macy's
yeah.
traded well, when it was pandemic stuff and they have financial issues and everything else.
Yeah.
Aside from that, it's not normally something that trades spectacularly well.
Yeah, it's a good one when it has some kind of catalyst.
Plus, what's their ATR even? I mean,
I don't even know. 10, 20 cents. Probably a little higher. Actually, it's no, I'm looking at the wrong one. I'm looking at Envis. That is very, very different.
The different story for sure there.
At $3. Actually, it's a little higher than I thought.
82 cents, not too
Yeah,
terrible,
not
but
bad.
nevertheless,
Yeah.
it usually it's just not generally very great. So
Yeah. How about Ford? You like that one?
no.
It's another one, guys. Look at the daily. This is a US company.
Another one is if a company's been around for 100-ish years, it's generally not a great day trading stock either.
Yep. If they're in that
Not
GE
always the
Ford,
case. These occasionally make different moves. You know, they had news the other day. It traded fairly well, but just as a rule of thumb, and you can always have exceptions. So
yeah, absolutely. So that is what we're looking for, guys. The cleaner the daily is, the better you can do levels, and the better intraday trading you are going to get in those stocks. So, all right, let's go ahead and go to our community announcement, and we'll come back and fine tune this list.
all right. So Michael Noss, TI presentation is posted. Check that out in the Education Center. Next week, 5 p.m. special time because of his time zone. Eamon will be doing part 2 of his parabolic reversal webinar. Psychology, Dr. Katz's Town Hall webinar is posted, so check that out. What is we've got Dr. Reed next week. I apologize. I need to correct the slide. It'll be fixed next week for Monday. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day. Obviously, it should have entries and exits on it. And then add any commentary you can to describe the trade, the strategy, why you took it, and everything else. Post it on Twitter, tagging @BearableTraders, @MikeB_BBT, and @NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. We'll pick the winners for each day and announce on Twitter in the afternoon. And then all those are eligible for Trade of the Week, which we will announce Monday on Twitter. And I apologize, we haven't been airing the Closing Bell show, so I need to fix that slide as well. All right, if you want to try out the chat, you haven't been in it, use the promo code PREMARKET24. That'll get you a discount off the intro membership, which is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the chat. Does not auto-renew or turn into any other kind of membership. Also gives you access to the live onboarding classes we do every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by the technology class that we have that's new. Also, last day we'll be talking about this, the 40% off Spring 40 discount for elite annual memberships. Use the promo code SPRING40 to get 40% off of that.
All right, thank you, Norm, for that. Let's get into this, guys. So the list is pretty short today. We don't have a whole lot, but it's very fine-tuned. I think in here we have some ones that are looking really, really good. So let's get started here with Envis. Envis is looking very nice, guys. Again, huge drop yesterday here, just completely getting destroyed after earnings. They're down 23% this morning. We're going to go ahead and do some levels here. I'm going to do levels for all of this because I think all of this looks good. We don't really have to fine-tune too much. We're looking at 1473 is the high of the pre-market here at the moment. Let's get this a little bit higher right over here, and the low of the pre-market, which just kind of did a little base here at 1332, getting a little bit of a pop into VWAP. Let's see if we can get something going there. Towards the bottom, guys, we're going to see some levels down here. Here we go. Good level here at a 1027. So I want to answer a question that we got on YouTube, and I think you talked about this a little bit, Norm, yesterday too. I think somebody asked in the chat when you were on the mic about as far as levels and the daily overall. So here, guys, what we have is the question is, do we put our levels at the wick or at the body of the candle? So you can actually do both. And here's some of the things you can look at. So for example, you look at this candle here, right? Really, the wick is going to be the important thing here, right? Not the body. The body's stuck between all these other dailies here. This is the one that kind of came out here, created the support and shot back up, right? So I'm going to do the wick on something like this here. You can clearly see it's going to be the bodies of the, because the wicks are right on there, creating a little beautiful base. And also you got this day with the wick coming down here, right? So that's a good level also. Now you have days like this one here, where, right, kind of similar to this, the one we just saw, where you have the wick so far out that the body can become an area of a level as well, right? It's just this big distance. And if I wouldn't put this one on here, but if you have other wicks hitting that level as well, that can also be important, right? So you can do both. Now, if you have something like this where it's so close to it, you pick one or the other. Remember, these levels are in areas, so you're not going to put a level here and then one here, 20 cents away. It just doesn't make any sense. But on this one, if I had to choose a level out of these, I'm going to just delete this one here. What I would do is I would pick the candle. Why? Because the candle is also being confirmed by this wick over here, right? And if I'm the price action towards the bottom of the level, I want to pick the closest one. If it was towards the top, I'll probably pick the closest one to that level, right? But here I would probably do this one because, again, you get the confirmation on there from a different candle as well. The more times a level is hit by a candle, a wick, or a body, or a moving average, the more weight you want to put onto that level, right? So we'll go through it. We'll see if we find some more examples like this one or better. It's not the best one, but we'll see if we find some more as we go putting our levels here. Now, actually, this one here, guys, is not the low of the day. This is 130. This is 1332. It is not the low of the pre-market. The low of the pre-market is all the way down here. But again, this right here is an obvious area of support. So you just don't want to. You want to have this as well, plus the low of the pre-market also on here. So those two are set. MVIS, guys, very active, down 24%, 4.6 million, looking pretty good this morning. Here is Twitter. Twitter is 1.8 million. Their pre-market action just going sideways right now. I think they're just trying to figure out where they're going to go from here. Low of the pre-market 56.31, high of the pre-market 57.67. And then towards the top here, we do have this level here over at a 59.33, and another great one right on here. So you see how many touches we have on this one, 61.72. We're not going to go off the body. The body doesn't mean anything here, but this wick, you have it here. You have this body close to this area. A couple of days hitting that with their wick and the opening and closing of the candle, and more wicks over here. This is a great level, 61.72. I'm gonna put, on that level, I'll put a lot of weight on because we have a lot of touches there. We're good towards the top, guys, and then above that, well above that, the highs and lows from the last two trading days. Let's look at below the low of the pre-market. That has been an area of prior resistance right over here that can now become support. Let's see if we're going to hold. Now, if we were to lose this level, there's a consolidation here, right around here. Got a lot of touches on this one, 53.66, right? Great area of support right on there, just kind of banging their heads back and forth here. Eventually we had the breakout in here. You can possibly have another level right on there. Yeah, it's another one too. Actually, got a couple of days on there as well, 54.88, so you can throw that there also. So plenty of levels for Twitter towards the downside, guys. I think we're pretty much set. Let's see how this is going to play out today. Great volume, nice drop on Twitter this morning. Here is Neo. Neo's pushing around some good volume too. 1.6 million shares traded. Low of the pre-market on Neo sitting at 37.32. So we'll throw a level there, and you can see how that is playing out very nice here. Got a couple of days, just confirming that support area. You can see it here and here. Also towards the bottom around 36, looks like 36. Yeah, it might be a good. It's okay. It's not this level here. It is not at 37.32. You see how great that is, but you do have a couple of days opening and closing and bouncing off of that. You got a moving average right around there as well, so that could be interesting. It is also a whole dollar number, 36, so that also plays a part into the psychology of traders, their mind right there. So 31.84, another one all the way down here. But these two here, these two are great levels towards the bottom. If we are to lose this 37.32, this thing is quite beat up today and yesterday. So we'll see if it has any more room towards the downside. Here is X. At the moment, pre-market's all over the place. This is probably a possible, guys. We'll do levels for it anyway. 21.58, low of the pre-market. Great area of support, as we can see here. Over to the bottom of that, 20.60. Another good one there. A couple of touches there. And very clean all the way. Actually, I like this one better here because you got more touches around a 19.30, right? So great example here, right? This one, you got this way. You can mark down this one. But this one here has a lot of confirmation. You got this date here, you got the opening of this date. You go to the left here, you got more wicks hitting that right on there as well. So that 1930 is going to have more weight to it. All right, that looks good. Plug towards the top. We got some levels, but I think we can remove those. There we go. That's better. Highs and lows towards the top. Previous day close on a plug here, and then towards the bottom, we're sitting right at this area. The low of the pre-market right now is the low from 2 days ago, which also has a lot of touch points here on the daily. Towards the bottom, I'm gonna find this one here, 26.30.48 is a good one, and then down here, so obviously this one. But in here too, you have an area right here, not the best level, 25.02. I'm gonna put that at the whole dollar number there. Couple of 1 or 2 days bouncing off of that. All right, so that's plugged there. Apple, guys, bouncing off a little bit from 131.73. We got another lower level here. Why do we have this level here? Oh, this is from these dates here. Right, let's remove that. Let's put this one here. Yeah, that's better. So that right there, 131.55 is good. Towards the top, guys, plenty of levels. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Previous day close. Just don't add anything more there. Don't make it more complicated. Look at this high from 2 days ago. Look how great that is. Just the level of resistance they've been getting there. We broke out of that yesterday. I thought it was gonna do something. It's just slamming right back down. Below the low of the pre-market, 130.67 is a good one. Then in here, you really don't have a lot of touches on this run up, right? I don't see a lot of great clean levels. Clearly, this is a good one here. Great area of resistance. Changing direction is also great. When you see something like this and it hits a level and it changes direction, comes back to it and tests it again, here it breaks out of it. But for the most part, you got another hit right here on here as well. So that looks good on Apple. And we got some possibles. OCGN, we'll keep an eye on, getting a little bit of a drop now. CHPT could be interesting. How is X doing? You know what? I might move X down. OCGN, CHPT, VXRT, Uber, they're not looking great. The best one here, I think, is CHPT and OCGN. Both of these are looking more interesting than X at the moment. So I'm going to bring X down. Let's get rid of X here. We'll leave that as a possible. OCGN, CHPT, I'm between these two. You know, I have a lot of EV stuff on here. Let's go with OCGN. I'll keep CHPT in mind. We'll go with OCGN. This seems to be the best one out of this entire list. Let's do levels for this one. Getting very active now too. Volume starting to pick up nicely. Low of the pre-market right now. We just created it in the last 5-minute candle, 11.25, and I think that's all you need. Don't add anything else. Everything else is done for you here with the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. Have you pretty much covered there on OCGN? So yeah, it's starting to look good. I like the way OCGN is playing out here. WDC, you know what? A lot of people threw this one out earlier too. It is not a great intraday trading stock. This is the reason why I don't have it on my list. So again, I know they had their earnings last night. Looks like nice pop here. Pre-market action doesn't look great. Volume is very light on the daily. This is another one, guys, here that again is Western Digital, I think, right? Yes, yeah, this does not trade very well, guys. It is a horrible intraday trading stock. Again, can they have their runs? Yes, they could. But their price action and everything with such light volume is usually not great for what we're looking to do as far as our active trading. All right, perfect, guys. That is what we have on this Fridays. Anything that we can answer? We got a couple of minutes, 9:07. Any questions? Anything else that we can look at? Why not VXRT? I have it down here. You know, VXRT was so horrible yesterday as far as getting above this 11. It was great in the pre-market. After such a run, I expect some funky stuff. And again, I don't know this, and there's no indicator showing me that this is going to be funky today. I'm just going based off of, you know, my gut intuition on things like this. When they start moving and getting a little bit toppy here, I don't see them strong to go back up to 11. I just don't see it. And especially yesterday with how it dropped here after hitting 11 and then just became such a poor trading stock after that. Today's pre-market action does not look better anywhere near than yesterday's. So I'm just putting my bet that this is not going to trade very well. Now, I could be wrong. Absolutely. The weatherman is wrong all the time and he still keeps his job, right? But here, I have it as possible. So I want to keep a close eye on it, but I don't think it's a good one, right? All right, let's go. What else we have here? Any other questions? Just look at the average daily volume. On which one? On VXRT? Oh yeah, VXRT is, again, this is more of a momentum type, scalping type stock. You know, this is, yeah. It's not great. So yeah, I agree with that. The average volume has to be horrible on that one. All right. Anything else, guys? Any questions? Support price on OCGen. I think we did, right? We did 1125. We have our highs and lows surrounding the price action, so I don't think we need to add anything more on this one, really. I think you're pretty much set for right now. We need the Friday sermon. Yes, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it right before we get out of here. But we got a couple of minutes. So, any questions? Anything else that's popping up this morning? If not, I'm also giving a little bit of time for our moderators to throw up their lineup, and we'll go over that next. It is Friday, so looking forward to the weekend, guys. Hopefully with some good weather. I think we have a storm coming, or it's passing. I'm not sure, but hopefully get some good weather here in the Northeast. For those on YouTube, as we wait for our moderators list, I see them coming in now. If you have not checked out our chat room, definitely do so. You can do a 7-day trial for, I think it's $24, so it's basically nothing. Try it out. Come in here, check out the environment. I guarantee you will enjoy yourself and have a good time and learn at the same time, which is amazing. So definitely check us out. Make sure you hit that thumbs up too. It really helps Norm and I, grow our pre-market show over on YouTube. So we appreciate that from you guys. Bobby, I am not coming to Austin. There's a guys meetup, Austin, Texas meetup. The link should be out there. So make sure you RSVP. It is on Friday, May 7th. So the link is out there. You do not have to be a member to join us for the meetup. Andrew's going to be there. Norm is going to be there. Mike is going to be there. I believe John is going to be there. So you got a whole bunch of moderators getting together for the Austin meetup. So don't miss it. Definitely, if you're in the area and can make it, by all means, definitely check it out and bring a friend that's interested in trading. Talk shop a little bit. And Andrew will make sure to buy you some drinks and appetizers as you enjoy yourself there. So I am not going, unfortunately. I have plans with the family, so it was very last minute. So I couldn't swing it this time, but next time we will. And yes, we will. As soon as they open up the city in New York, we'll definitely have a meetup in NYC. We'll definitely do that, but a lot of things are still, pretty restrictive. There's some areas that are not, but let's just wait a little bit. Also, let's wait for the weather to get better, right? We got some really good weather down here. We'll have Andrew and the rest of the gang come up for that meetup. So stay tuned. We're definitely doing an NYC meetup. I haven't seen the team in a long time. Norm, these guys. I haven't seen them actually, last time I saw him was in the New York meetup. It was a year ago. So we're definitely well overdue there. All right, here we go, guys. Line up for our moderators. Let's see what we have.
New York meetup, what?
Huh? I was talking that looking forward to the New York meetup. I can't make this one for Austin. I was talking about how many the moderators are going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, man, the New York meetup was the last time I saw you and the rest of the gang.
Yeah.
It's been some time. So looking forward to having that as soon as possible. Maybe sometime in the summer. Here we go, guys. IPO for today. Wow, we have quite a few for our Friday. RNAX AZ, excuse me, RCAT, HOW, VAC, AICC as well. Watch list for AMA, he's looking at FSLY, XPEV, CCIV, secondary list, INO, XOM, and Riot. Tiffany's looking at Twitter, NEO, Apple. Jared's looking at Tesla, NEO, both looking rather on the weaker side today. We'll see what happens there. XOM, CVX, Apple, and Brian is looking at Twitter, NEO, Apple, NNDM. Dima is looking at VXRT, Mara, NEO, and Apple. So as you can see, very similar list here, guys. Everybody's watching kind of the similar stocks this morning. There's not a whole lot that looks great, but there's a lot gapping down in the same areas and sectors, right? EVs are down today. Some of the big tech names are down. Twitter is down huge today on earnings. So it should be a whole lot of fun. All right, for those that have not seen our chat room, since we have 2 minutes, for those over on YouTube, here is the way our chat room looks. Pretty nice setup that we have for it. How can I share this with you here? There it is. Should be able to see that now. So pretty nice setup, guys. You have your alerts over here. You can see what the moderators are watching. Here's our members. Go ahead.
Nothing.
Oh.
You just touched. Shouting out to my Mavis here.
Oh, Mavis is going. All right.
Yeah.
It's starting to get going here nicely. That's gonna be fun today. So here's our members here, so we can chat back and forth. And then here where it says video off, you'll just be seeing whatever we're sharing. I just have it off right now, so to save on bandwidth. So definitely give us a try. See if you like the environment. We'll go from there. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us over on YouTube. We appreciate you guys doing that. We're going to go ahead and continue in our chat room with Brian and Andrew up next, which has been getting amazing connection in the background that he's trading from. Just amazing, that view. So remember, guys, it is Friday, so that means we have to be disciplined. You do not want to go into the weekend thinking about trading and breaking your rules and just being all over the place. It's horrible, because you can't come back tomorrow and make it up. So you got 2 days to just beat yourself up. Nothing good comes out of it. Always a great reminder, guys, if you are down for the week, if you're down for the week, if you're down for the month, because this is the end of the month, today's not the day where you are going to push to make that up. The market is going to be here next week. Many times that I try to do that, I make it worse. So just trade your plan. If you're going to end the month rest, no problem.
Oh, I screwed my week last week on Friday.
Oh yeah, it happens.
I made it happens every once in a while, man. Yeah. I had a great week. I had 4 days, Monday through Thursday, green. Yep, that's 4. Friday, whole week done.
Yeah,
happens.
Man.
It's been a long time, but it happens every once in a while. It sucks.
I've been there. Sucks. So again, just be mindful of that. It is the last day of the month. The market's going to be here next month and the following month. We haven't gotten any memos that they're closing, so you do not have to be a hero today. So trade safe. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you over on Monday. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe over on YouTube if it's your first time here. We'd love to have you next week as well. Take care, guys, and we'll continue in our chat room.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.